It was about 3 years ago. My older son Cash, who was 5 at the time, was really into getting the girls together in the house and playing church. And my kids, when they play church, they play it very seriously. And so they're there. They got everything set up. They've got the communion set up in the little medicine cups, and I forget what they use for the communion bread. But they would take it so seriously that they were playing one day, and Piper was really upset. She was 4 years old at the time, but they would not serve her communion because she had not been baptized yet. So they went over to the pool later that day and took care of it. But she was pretty upset because they denied her the communion. But they took it seriously, and Cash really took it seriously because he did all the preaching, all that kind of stuff, and he would even sometimes ask for amens, that kind of deal when he was giving his lesson. But one time, he really wanted to work on his lesson, and he wanted me to spend some time with him, coming up with a good lesson. And so we talked about what he wanted to talk about, and I think this is after Jesus had fed the 5,000. More like when you count the women and the children, probably more like 20,000 people that were there. Probably even more than that. And so immediately after this, he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But the boat by this time was a long way from the Lord, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." But Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink and cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." And so after that, Cash went up there and he said these words. He said, "Never take your eyes off Jesus." And he said it just like that. Never stop loving God. Always worship him. And never stop praying. Always have faith. I thought that was a pretty good interpretation of the story. And when we talk about overcoming and ways to overcome, that it's important that we keep our eyes on Jesus. That we look to him in our times of trouble, just as Peter did when he got himself into trouble for looking away. And he prayed to God. He cried out to Jesus, "Save me." And through that, Jesus was able to help him overcome. And some of you might be at camp today and you might feel like you've been drowning, that you're under the water and that you have nowhere to go. But remember that you can always cry out to Jesus, and he's there to help you up. He's there to help you along in your walk of faith.